At PwC, we believe in the power of stories, the kind that inspire change, foster innovation, and showcase incredible potential of leadership. Welcome, I'm Suryanshi Pandey, and I'll be providing you the backstage passes to the conversation that matter the most, and from the people who have transformed challenges into opportunities. So today in this conversation, we have with us Sudipta Ghosh, who is a partner at PwC India with over 26 years of experience. Pleasure to have you, Sudipta Ghosh.
Thank you.
And if I add more to his profile, he leads the charge in data analytics and cloud solutions, and in his academic marathon, he has won silver medal from IIT Kharagpur and gold medal from IIM Calcutta. So we have got you covered. So we have the best for you in this market. And if I have to start the conversation with you, the one thing that I want to ask you is, when we talk about the navigation of your career progression from being a campus hire to the partner at PwC India, how did it happen?
I never thought that when I joined PwC that I would want to be a partner. I think I would have put too much of pressure on myself if I thought that. So it was one step at a time, all the time. And in fact, many people ask me, what is my advice if I want to be a partner? So my first advice to them is that don't think that you have to be a partner. Think of how you can do your job at the present moment very well, so that you can get the next opportunity, and then after that, and then it'll all happen over a period of time. So it was more about my desire to do new things and different things. And PwC provided the right kind of an environment for me, because in the consulting world you get a lot of opportunity to learn. You also get a lot of opportunity to work on different projects, different types of projects, different types of people, and also you get to travel as well. So it just all happened like that. I would be a little dishonest if I say that I was planning from day one to become a partner. It was never like that. It was always one step at a time, and the outcome was always very, very gratifying for all of us to see. And the other thing I also say to everybody is that it's not about I doing a lot of things. It's a lot about how others have helped me and how the ecosystem has provided the right platform to succeed. It's not just one person's success. It is the organization, it is the ecosystem, it is the set of teams and people you work with who succeed, and you're a part of that success story.
You've spoken about the first step. If we talk about that, when we talk about that thing, then why did you choose, or can we say that PwC India chose you, or why did you choose PwC India?
So because I had done both my engineering and my MBA, I wanted to pursue my career in a field which had some problem solving, some consulting kind of a flavor, and PwC provided that. And I also wanted to not lose my core technological base, because I'm an electrical engineer and I was working as a software engineer before. So I wanted to be in the technology field. I also wanted to be in consulting, and probably data and analytics at that time, I'm talking about 99, provided the right blend of functional and technical skills needed, which I chose at that time because I thought that is what will be my calling.
Sudipta, if we be a little specific, then what are the things that you feel that the pivotal moments were that made you where you are today, that is your current position?
So I think the first thing was that I would say there were a little bit of a pattern in what happened over the last 26 years. So the first pattern which emerged was when there was an opportunity which was opened up, I was not hesitant in taking up that opportunity. For example, there was an opportunity which came up very early in my career to go to a different country and do something which was very different from what I was doing. So there was always that fear of something which was unknown. I took it up and I went to UK on a secondment, and that actually opened a lot of new things for me in terms of how the organization works globally. Also, when I kind of came back to India after that secondment stint, I did something very new. It was setting up the entire research and analytics team in India, which nobody had done before. And that was also very new because I had to recruit the team, I had to sell the proposition to the client, I had to make something which was profitable for the firm, and I have to also make something which was sustainable over the long run in that space. So that was an opportunity which came, and I would say to a large extent shaped the way I would try and build practice. I would try and create markets for PwC. And then I would also say that the last example was that AI and analytics came in pretty much about 10 years back or 12 years back. And I got an opportunity to actually build that capability from scratch, and also motivate and bring that team along which could deliver such kind of projects. So there were moments which gave me an opportunity to do something which I was not doing before. There was an element of risk for sure, but there was also a bit of an excitement that if you do it, you'll be the first one to do it anyway. So I would say a little bit of a luck, but a lot of perseverance and help from everybody else in the ecosystem were those pivotal moments which kind of helped us grow.
So in between risk and excitement, there lies failures and setback also. So Sudipta, can you share some of the setbacks and failures that actually shaped your career as a professional?
Many, and I will run out of time. But one or two things I would just like to say. See, we are in a field where we have to always see what is coming next. We have to be relevant for our clients. So I specifically remember one specific experience where we were very close to winning a particular piece of work, but we did not. We actually lost that, and it was a very, very heartbreaking moment, because in our profession there are no prizes for becoming second. You either get it or you don't get it. It's a binary thing all the time.
Either be a gold medalist or nothing at all.
Yeah, at least in an educational institution, you at least get recognized if you're second or third.
Yeah. There are podiums.
You still get to stand on the podium, but in the real world, if you're a second or a third, you don't get any chance. For example, if you do a Google search, do you ever go to the second page of the search? You don't, right? You only see the first page. The second page is as good as the third page and the last page, right? So that's reality, and that's real life for us. But when we kind of looked at, or I looked at that kind of an experience, I said, what is it that I can learn from there? And what I realized is that we, in addition to very good set of people and very good credentials and capabilities, we also needed something more in the sense, do I have an IP which I can share with my clients? Do I have a product or a solution which I can go to my client with? And that possibly was the tipping point. And we then started investing a lot in building capabilities from a platform perspective, from a tools and capabilities perspective, which is basically the IP which PwC brings to the client. And I say that was, if not an eye-opener, definitely a changing moment for all of us to realize what is it that the industry, the client are looking for, and it's always a learning experience. So we learned a lot from there, and I must say that the same industry in a similar setting, we have won many such projects in the recent past, but we had to make a beginning, and that beginning was a beginning from a failure. So that was a very gratifying journey over the years.
So Sudipta, you have been a winner at PwC at present, but if we go back in time, what one piece of advice that you would give to your younger version when he had just started at PwC?
Yeah, so I would say that we sometimes focus a lot on the results. That is how we are actually tuned, because we are coming from an educational institution, and there the marks is very important. You get good marks, bad marks, etc. So there's a lot of focus on results. What I realized in the organization is that we need to do a lot of focus on the process, on the day-to-day things which we do. Results may or may not be in your control, but the focus on the process of what you do on a day-to-day basis is certainly very much in your control. So that is one thing I would say, that it is important to be focused on your outcomes, but it is equally important to be very, very focused on the day-to-day activities which would make that happen. So that is one. Second, I would say is a bit of a patience is needed. Usually what happens is that when you are in a in a professional setting, it is never that you are working by yourself. You are working as part of a team, and you might be a great individual performer, but if you are not able to carry the team along with you, and you need that bit of a patience, you need that bit of empathy, you need a bit of a bonding and an understanding which goes beyond just the intellect part of it, it becomes very difficult to then go and kind of succeed the way you would succeed. And it comes over a period of time, but the sooner it starts at an early age, you have a better advantage going forward. So that's the second thing I would say. And the third thing is that sometimes you have to hold back. Whether you are doing a presentation, whether you are doing something, you might have a better answer at that point in time. But if you're able to hold back and let the other person speak, you actually would do that person a world of good. And later on, you can always give a feedback that, you could have done this slightly better or otherwise. But sometimes you have to just rein your natural tendency to correct somebody, which also comes with a bit of an age and wisdom. But these three things, if you can start early, it will give you a jump start. You will be able to see the results soon enough.
Yeah.
They're not very intuitive points. They're slightly counterintuitive, but it comes with the age of wisdom and with losing a lot of hair, which I have.
And just imagine, we are providing you these important 3 wisdoms from the Sudipta Ghosh at PwC Conversation. So you cannot miss this conversation because it will help you to build your career. And these 3, I think, most important for the adrenal rushed generation. So moving on to the most important thing, because now with AI and everything is hovering around in our world, how much the industry has evolved in the last decade?
So I would say that there are 2 things which are happening parallelly and which is changing a lot. The first is expectations from the industry, particularly if you're in the consulting world. In the past, when I was a consultant 25 years back, a client will say, well, I have this problem, can you solve it for me? And I will do it. Today, a client or an organization will say, I do not know what the problem is. Can you come and help me figure out my blind spots?
Oh.
So the problem definition has completely changed from something which was very known and prescriptive and kind of written, has now moved to a slightly more fuzzy, unknown, white space. So you have to navigate that change well. That is one. Second is that if I look from a technology perspective, because today we are talking about a lot of technological changes which has impacted the boardrooms. It is no longer just somebody, a geek sitting in a corner and doing something, right? So there we are seeing that many things which we would have learned in the past around the technology, particularly in the field of, say, data and analytics or any other field, we have to constantly be prepared to unlearn and learn a new thing based on what that technology is doing. It is not just enough to understand what the technology is, it is also very important to understand the implication of that change from a client's perspective, so that you are able to provide that in a more proactive manner and understand the risks. So 2 things. One is that you as a consultant, or I as a consultant, will have to define and co-create the problem statement and solve it for the client. The problem statement will not come defined and given to me. So that's one. Second is, I will have to understand the enablers, and technology is an enabler, process is an enabler, people is an enabler. I have to understand all these enablers of an organization and then adapt that to the problem statement which I'm trying to solve. So these are 2 very important things which has evolved, and particularly in the field of data and analytics, I would say this change is tremendous. Even if you look at AI, the way AI has evolved over the years, we have moved from machine learning and deep learning to agentic AI. The LLMs, or the large language models, have changed so much. We have seen that the costs have significantly come down. We have seen the entire democratization of information. So that way we are living in very, very excited times, I must say.
So coming on to the changes, what are the changes that you foresee in the upcoming years?
So the way I would say is that there are certain things which will not change. Let me say that first. So what will not change is the fact that every organization would want to improve, would want to grow, would want to be more profitable, would want to be more institutionalized, would want to have a risk-free operations, have a degree of control. So these things will not change, they will remain the same. What will change significantly is the how part of it. How do you actually make it happen in every organization? And for every organization, the how part of it will be a little different. So it will not be a standard or a cookie cutter kind of a solution for them. What is also important or going to be important going forward is the embracing and the adoption of the new things which an organization is bringing in, whether it's a technological change, whether it's a process change, whether it's a governance related change or any kind of a change. So the focus will be a lot more on, well, I have invested on something, has that investment given me the right kind of returns over the period of time, because I have started using that new thing which I have built for myself. So that focus is going to be very, very critical, and that will not come unless everybody believes in the organization that that's the right thing for me to do. They're able to embrace that change, which is much easier said than done.
So if I have to ask you the $1 million question, that is, are humans replaceable because of the technology coming in?
So our point of view is very clear, and it has remained consistent over the years, is that humans have a role to play, machines have a role to play, and there is going to be an interplay between the two. In fact, I'm going to say that it is a symbiotic relationship. Why I say symbiotic is because humans are going to benefit by machines, because you do not really want to do a very, very routine, repetitive job which you don't like at all. It just makes your life so difficult. So if that can be done by a machine, can be done by an algorithm, can be done by an AI, you will be more than happy, right? Yeah. So that is one part of the story. The other part of the story is that if you are providing the right input to the machine, because we are talking in the world of AI and machine learning and deep learning, the machine will start being more efficient and effective over a period of time. So you are actually helping the machine to help you in the long run, which is why we call it a symbiotic relationship. In fact, we have come up with a point of view where we are saying that organizations who are able to build these human-centric solutions will be more successful than ever, because you need the buy-in of the people to drive this change, and they should not be afraid of the technology, they should be embracing the technology, because that is where the opportunity lies.
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is update yourself, your skill sets. So Sudipta, if I ask you about the technology enabled environment at PwC,
yeah,
how does it help you in your professional space?
A lot. I would say that we are in the business of knowledge, and our key thing which we try and sell or try and take forward to our client is our knowledge, and hence knowledge is my raw material, is my semi-finished good, is also my finished good. So the journey from all that is significantly enabled using technology. For example, if I have to come up with a point of view or even write a proposal or a document, until and unless I have the technology available with me, that I have done this in 5 other places before and I can pull that very, very quickly, I will not be as effective, right? I would have to be very, very ready, very agile with all the different changes and responses I need to give to my client, and there technology becomes very, very critical. The other place I would say is the entire upskilling. While I was talking about upskilling for my client, I would also have to do that in my own organization, because without that, our own people and we ourselves will become obsolete. So there is a huge play of technology in terms of ensuring that we are able to provide the right kind of environment to our people, to ourselves, so that we are more ready for the future. So both from the perspective of external client management as well as from the perspective of ensuring that we are smarter ourselves, I would say that technology plays a significantly important role today than ever before.
So enough of all the talks of 9-to-5 jobs, let's discuss about work-life environment also. So when I talk about work-life balance at PwC, be honest, Sudipta Ghosh, how much is it, how much you rate it?
Yeah, I mean, you have asked me to be honest, so I'll be honest. I'll say that, well, there have been situations when I've worked over the weekend. There has been situations where I've worked, late nights. There are, and I would not say no to that, but there is a lot of flexibility which is available now. For example, if you have just finished the work which you have done, nobody is actually going to ask you whether you should be in the office or you should be at home and all that, right? If somebody wants to just take a day off or a week off, we actually encourage that. We say that, please do that, because it's important for you to spend that time, and you can kind of, you'll feel reinvigorated after that. Also, our clients have become more understanding, and they also realize that it is not so much about the input which you have to give, as long as they are able to get the outcomes and the output from us, right? And at the end of the day, it is a lot about your own personal time management and discipline. And if we are able to do that, I think there is enough and more we can do to keep our professional and our personal lives in balance. I'm one example in front of you. I've been 26 years in consulting, and I've never felt that I actually burnt myself down or anything of that sort. So you can do it. It is definitely possible. And I would say that at least in PwC, we provide that flexibility, and we also provide that support for you to make it happen.
And another support is coming your way is the most important questions for people who are about to go for their careers is networking. So Sudipta, if we talk about that, how much networking is important in one's career?
So I would say that we don't have to force it on ourselves. It should come fairly naturally to us. It should come fairly organically to us. We are in a profession where we are constantly meeting our customers, our clients. We are doing one project and another project. We are meeting with a lot of people. We are in the people business. We call it very proudly. So we almost deal with people on a daily basis. And this natural way of meeting people, getting to know people, getting to do different projects, I think if we are just a little bit curious, if we are just a little bit, I would say, away from our or outside of our immediate core, and we have to also understand that we come from a situation where we may actually feel that we are just talking to a client, but the client actually feels that you are very knowledgeable, etc. Should I even approach you or not? So we should not be afraid to kind of friend somebody. So one is that it can come very naturally, very organically, because you get an opportunity to work in different projects. In PwC, there are different programs which happen both within the organization, where you can mix and mingle with people within the organization outside your competency or outside your business unit. But also there are external events where we call our clients, where we participate in forums, we go to industry bodies, etc., where you can meet your peers, you can meet your customers, you can meet even partners who want to work with PwC. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is that you have to be careful about what kind of relationships you are trying to build, whether there is a regularity in terms of maintaining your old relationships, whether you are giving them something which PwC is doing on a proactive basis without expecting necessarily everything in return for that. So if you are able to do all of that, it kind of helps you build that ecosystem. And in our world and profession, it's very important that we build that connect with our larger ecosystem of our people, of our clients, and of our partners.
Speaking of that, the most crucial part is to break the ice, and sometimes some people cannot do that because of innumerable reasons. Some have different personalities. So how one can break the ice, if you can give some tips on networking to improve on that skill set?
So I would say that we have to break our own internal inhibitions to start with. Sometimes we are a little shy, and we have to take the first step in breaking that ice. And even we can even talk about the weather, and that could be a starting point. So the first step is to break your own inhibition. The second is that we have to keep in mind that when we are talking to somebody, this is also a learning opportunity for us, because that person is doing something, we are doing something, so we will give some information, we will get some information. So it's a good learning opportunity for us. And as a consultant, you are a lifelong student, so that perspective helps, that I am also gaining something. And I would also say that how do you break the ice? I mean, there are responsibilities which you have in your organization which would require you to be entrepreneurial. which means, can you do something new? Are you thinking something different? We constantly are in the process of disrupting. It's a creative disruption. We disrupt ourselves far more than the world disrupts us, and that's the reason why we have been relevant for such a long period of time. But in order for you to do that, you need those ideas by talking to multiple people. So that's the other motivation I can just suggest why you would be taking that effort to make that first move and break the ice.
Yes, and if you have to conclude this conversation, what is the one message that you want to give to the youngsters?
So I would say that let's focus on the process. Let's focus on the here and now. Focus on what is it that you need to do today. I think there's a huge amount of burden and pressure we put on ourselves that we have to achieve X, Y, and Z, or we compare ourselves with others that others are doing this and I'm doing that. So if we can stop comparing ourselves with others, if we can focus more on the process rather than on the outcomes or the results, or not get worried too much about the results, at least this is for the youngsters when they're beginning their career, or they have already begun their journey but they are slightly early in their career, then it will give them a lot of happiness and peace in what they are doing. And with that, I would say that they will even do things better than with all the weight of expectations they pile on themselves, right? I've also seen that we tend to do too many things at the same time. So we'll be on the phone, we'll be talking to somebody, we'll be doing something else. So if we can focus on one thing at a time, that actually helps a lot, because then you are not distracted and you actually can give your best shot. So that's the other thing I would say. But today I see that there are a lot of opportunities for the youngsters, for people who have just begun their career. So it is something that they have a lot of options, a lot of choices, and they can really do very, very well. Indian economy is doing very well. There is a lot of optimism everywhere. So it's a great time and a very exciting time to be in.
So it's an exciting time to be in, and if you want such exciting and inspiring stories where you can nurture your own career, then this conversation you cannot miss. This was the first episode, and we will be coming back again with more personalities and with more insights into the corporate world, only at PwC India. This is me, Suryanshi Pandey, with Sudipta Ghosh, signing off. Thank you so much.
Thank you.